The month of May has been going pretty steadily, with new mobile games showing up every day, some quite impressive, some just okay, and some a bit of a mess. Hello friends, this is Mobile, and here are over 20 more new mobile games of May 2026 for Android and iOS. So first of all, if you missed it previously, well, the Game of Thrones Kingsroad had its grand launch yesterday. It finally came out globally and honestly feels like way more like a proper action RPG than any autoplay MMO mess that we usually get on mobile and what people probably expected from the license and the PC game. Early on, well, the game really just wants you following its guide missions while it slowly unlocks all the systems piece by piece. The story starts with season 4 of the show where you're meeting characters like Jon Snow, and Jaime, and Winterfell, Castle Black, etc. Combat's fully manual, and classes are just basically build more around actual sword fights than fantasy. It's of course a free-to-play game, and it takes about 15 to 20 gigabytes of storage. On second hands, we've got the one and only Warhammer 40k Boltgun, which is now coming to Android and iOS, and it's sort of renamed to Boltgun Boom. And of course it's just bringing that old school boomer shooting goodness, and honestly it just fits the platform way better than expected. So here's the thing, if you like fast offline shooting games where the answer to every problem is just shoot harder, this already looks promising. The whole thing leans all the way into retro with chunky pixel art visuals and some super aggressive combat that feels closer to classic Quake, Heretic and Doom era shooters than modern first-person shooters. Check it out in case you missed it. Tomb Busters, on the other hand, is a sort of game where everything depends on who you brought with you, or if you even survived long enough to even matter. First of all, it's actually been in a beta now, hitting a global market in the coming days, and it is one of the better co-op games we've had in recent history. The reason I'm saying that is because alone it feels quite tense, but the moment the co-op kicks in, it just flips tone completely. Suddenly everybody's shouting, panicking, people missing jumps, someone grabbing loot while you've got every reason to just panic. It's part horror, part teamwork, and just all the good mayhem that comes with it. In case you missed it, Where Winds Meet is getting a gigantic expansion and it's called Imperial Palace. This looks less like a normal update now and more like NetEase just casually adding an entire history worth of content. See, this new area or DLC sort of, or expansion, focuses more on ancient Chinese palace life, political matters, and a massive royal complex packed with just thousands of new NPCs. It's still the same martial arts action RPG underneath, but this update leans way harder into immersion and world building.
No.
Sitting in at number 5, we've got the game Dead Be The Fallen. It took no more than a few days to finally land as promised, and it's now sitting on both Android and iOS. Now, I'm not really sure how to actually feel about this game, but it is a black and white FPS adventure, sort of sit inside this grim prison, where everything already feels quite dead silence and just wrong the second you start playing. Very atmosphere-driven sort of game with a brutal close range combat as well. It's more like survival horror than any run and gunning. Check it out, it's got a free demo and it's offline as well. But number 6, we've got God Rivals, which is, in case you missed it, it is a roguelike, or rather action RPG like Hades, or you could say inspired by Hades, where you're born to just basically run, die, learn, repeat. But it also knows exactly what it is. Every run throws different upgrades, so your build constantly shifts. Sometimes you're just a fighter, other times you accidentally become an overpowered beast. The roguelike loop does, is the main hook here basically. It's not reinventing anything in the genre, but it's clearly built for people who really just like the combat grind. Pretty good game actually. Going down to number 7, we've got UFL Football Game 2026, which finally made the jump to mobile, and it's really chasing that full console crowd instead of the fast arcade stuff most mobile games lean into now. So the whole thing clearly wants to compete with the big football names already on mobile, and honestly the presentation's pretty clean as well. Playing online matches and live events tied to real football seasons are sort of like the cherry on top. If you like slower, more tactical football games with real teams and some polished visuals, this will definitely grab you fast. I mean, come on, it's been out for just a few days and already downloaded nearly 1 million times. Blade of Shadows is now out on Android, and this thing feels like one of those straight up dungeon crawling comfort games built for people that just miss old school hack and slashing. It's fully offline as well. It's a free game, it is less than a gigabyte, and downloaded nearly 500,000 times in less than a week. The rogue setup does keep things moving since layouts, loots, and encounters constantly shift each run, and the RPG gives the whole thing enough reason to keep pushing further. You're running through randomized dungeons, cutting through monsters, dodging traps, farming gear, and also slowly building a stronger character after every run. Check it out, it's set to be coming to iOS in the coming days. With that being said, we've got the game at number 9, Shadowlight: No Return, which is it's a horror-adventure puzzle game in first-person format, and it's also set inside this huge 1930s asylum where nothing even feels right, even if you do it right. It's an offline game, which fits the vibe. I gotta say, what keeps it interesting is just how every chapter changes the pacing completely. So one movement feels slow and investigative, then suddenly the game's pushing pressure out of nowhere. Offline game, I gotta say the atmosphere really carries this one all the way.
가라앉은 사원에서 인간 파프리온과 전투가 시작.
So, number 10, we've got Lineage W, which finally came out to Android and iOS worldwide. In case you missed it, it is sort of aimed straight at a hardcore MMORPG crowd that sort of miss massive clan wars and full-time PvP. Pretty huge, it is grindy, extremely competitive, and absolutely not trying to be casual. So if you're into old school energy where alliances matter more than story and every area can suddenly become a battlefield, this is exactly that kind of game. Most of the game revolves around open world farming, territory fights, castle sieges, and sort of clan politics, so keep it in mind. It's about 14 gigabytes in total. Spirit Crossing took probably 2 years to land properly, and it's now finally sitting on the Google and the Apple Store via the official final Netflix, meaning it's finally out globally and in the making for other consoles including PC, which is a huge win for mobile games. So Spirit Crossing is a sort of cozy and collaborative life sim MMO about building friendships, community, where you and other players are basically maintaining a hub between worlds, helping these spirits and slowly shaping the area into something better and more positive. It is a pretty relaxing game, very social, more about hanging out than any kind of actual combat or pressure. Quick mention over here for those of you who actually missed the whole Warhammer showcase in general. We don't have just Tacticus and Boltgun coming to Android. Warhammer Survivors is basically Game Workshop developers looking at Vampire Survivors and going, yeah, give us that, but with bolters. Anyway, this little gem over here is on its way to Android and iOS. We're not sure when, but it is officially announced and folks launched its trailer. Honestly, if you already lost weeks of your life to Vampire Survivors, this probably has almost dangerous potential. Going down to number 13, we've got Buffalo Jump. Buffalo Jump's a pretty calm little 3D platformer where you play as a frog, jumping through obstacles, collecting fruits, avoiding traps, and just watching the scenery. So the whole thing is that relaxed handheld vibe where it's more about simple movement and charm than any challenge. It's got pretty bright visuals, light platforming, one of those games that just exists purely to be pleasant for a few hours. It is an offline game, but it does with a price tag of $3.99. Going down to number 14, we've got War Steels. War Steels is actually coming from the same folks who made Toy Command. This one's another strategy game, of course, although this time they're trying to lean a bit way harder into actual battlefield control instead of just menu management. It does still have the usual progression systems, upgrades, PvP, commanders, and army building stuff mobile strategy games always carry, but the military presentation and the battlefield focus gives it a slightly more grounded feel. Play it if you like managing fights from that top-down tactical view. It's a free game, it's about 1 gigabyte in total. So here's another one. Warhammer 40k Tacticus is doing a big Dawn of War crossover event, and it's just basically pure fan service for the longtime players. There's new characters like Cyrus and the Necron leader are now all joining the roster, alongside a new campaign, raid bosses, and faction battles built around the upcoming Dawn of War return. So, of course, at its core, Tacticus is still the same turn-based tactical RPG, but the future fun is mostly coming from building squads across different factions and slowly turning battles into something more of a chess. Check it out in case you missed it. Number 16, we've got something here called Knights, medieval PvP. Knights is basically a sort of stripped down medieval fighting game where the whole focus is just getting into sword fights against other players as fast as possible. There's no open world, no huge story setup, it's just arenas, gear upgrades, time in, and try not to get folded by someone faster than you. So most of the progression comes from climbing ranks, equipments, and improving your reactions. It's got that simple one more duel kind of loop where matches are quick, messy, and mostly just carried by how well you read the other player. This is in case you missed it. Number 17, we've got Living with LIVLIES or LIVLIES or something, which is this pretty weird little post-apocalyptic life sim where the world technically ended, but everyone decided to just vibe with alchemy instead of panicking about it. The whole thing in this game moves at a super relaxed pace, like a board game almost, and most of the fun comes from decorating, collecting, and just making your weird little slow life sort of setup feel personal. Pretty cute, it is free, it is Japanese, that's it. Going down to number 18, we've got Slice X. One of those super simple reflex games built entirely around zoning out and reacting fast for high scores. And the whole challenge is trying not to accidentally hit the red crates you see there. There's barely any complexity in this game honestly, but that's kind of the point. There's no timers, no progression systems, just arcade, keep the combo alive energy will run slowly get more chaotic the longer your focus holds up. Pretty good game, it is free, it's about 150 megabytes in total. Yeah, going even further at number 19, we've got another one of these car crash games, and this one's called Smash Pro, which I'm gonna say it knows exactly why people actually play these type of games. And that would be just to absolutely destroying cars. Like, there's actually barely any racing here. It's mostly ramps, head-on crashing machines, mountain drops, just seeing how violently a vehicle can fold into scrap. Pretty cheap game, it is offline, fully built around pure destruction sandbox energy without pretending to be anything deeper. Down at number 20, we've got Rust Truck. Rust Truck's basically a post-apocalyptic trucking sim where like half the battle is just keeping your busted vehicle alive long enough to reach destination. The cool part is just how physic heavy it feels. It's got manual gears, engine overheating, balancing cargo, flipping over heels, fuel management. It's less about speed, more about surviving. Free game, it's offline, and well, it's sort of got some in-app purchases. Going down to number 21, we've got Twilight Haven. It looks heavily inspired by stuff like Stardew Valley and Terraria, but with sort of a darker angle. That is, something happening underneath all the farming. Like, imagine Stardew Valley, but the world outside keeps getting more corrupted. So yeah, it's the same thing, but the cool part is just how much variety it squeezes into such a small game size. One minute you're chilling with farming and animals, the next you're pushing through areas that feel way less safe than the town sections. Check it out, it's a free game, it's also in its beta phase. And of course, last but not least, we've got another Warhammer, which is Warhammer Combat Cards. And it just got its big Armageddon update, and if you're already into Warhammer, it's just endless space warfare nonsense. This is basically more fuel for the addiction. For those of you who missed it, it is a strategy card battling game, and yeah, well, this new update adds new cards, modes, and campaigns, so there's now just more reasons to keep grinding decks and different Warhammer factions. It's just running the same setup. Check it out, it's a free game, it's been around for years, and it's about 1 GB in total.